So we're now at the stage where we're ready to apply the hardener. Things that I've learned from doing this: don't use masking tape to try and stick it down. As you can see on these, they've got frayed edges. That's because I've had to try and cut where I've masked it off because the masking tape's really hard to peel off. What I'm hoping is when we put the hardener on, it'll harden it up enough to then we can re-trim it. If you see some of these bits that stick around here, they'll hopefully go around. But other than that, so far, for a first attempt on something quite fiddly, I'm still quite happy with it. So don't use masking tape is my tip for this time, and that's to go along with get some decent scales. So to mix the hardener, we need to do 3:1. So it's 3 parts resin, 1 part hardener. So again, I'm going to try and do 40 grams, which is quite impossible because my scales are rubbish, but we'll give it a go. And again, we need to give that a good mix first before we do anything. Pop the gloves on and then just put this on and see what happens. This one has to go on for 8 hours, this coat. So by the time I come back to it, it'll be well after 8 hours. It doesn't have to be smooth or perfect, it just needs to wet all of the fabric. Like I say, hopefully it'll bring down the edges. I've had quite a few people message me saying thanks for doing this because everyone else wanted to give it a go but they were a bit scared. Honestly, just have a go. If you know what you're doing with carbon fibre and you're watching this, you're probably thinking what on earth's going on, but I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just winging it. So we'll get this coat on first. What I'm hoping after this coat is we might be able to start to see it a bit more what we would class carbon fibre as, so a bit more shiny. So you just need to put enough on to wet the fabric and still avoid any runs or anything. So we might pop that bit out there. So I was hoping that this resin would allow me to fold these bits over, but it doesn't look like it's gonna work like that. So I might end up having to just trim all these edge bits off at the end and just sand them down, but I think that'll be fine because there's still enough coverage on the actual piece itself. But like I say, it's all a learning curve, innit? Right, I'll finish these up, just do a little fast forward for you guys because there's no point watching me do all 3. And then the next time I check in, it'll be more than 8 hours later, and we'll see what we're left with. Hello and welcome back now. These have hardened. As you can see, I had a slight disaster. As you can see, all of the little spiky bits on the sides. The masking tape that I used basically was impossible to get off once it had hardened, and to cut it all off I'm now too short on a lot of stuff. So they all look a bit spiky, so the next stage really is to try and trim them down, and then we need to do a bit of 120, sand it all back, and then we need to do 3 coats of the hardener with 2-hour gaps in between. So essentially what I'm going to try and do is give this a sand back just to try and make it look a bit more presentable, and hopefully at the end it might work out. If not, I'll just buy some more of the interior bits and redo them. And if you are going to do it, when you lay the fabric over, cut it quite close in so you don't have a lot of excess fabric, so then it allows you to tape it down on the other side and harden it. I think the issue I had is I had too much overhanging fabric, and then obviously it's not set properly. So I'm just going to go around, trim all these bits off and then give them a sand down. Obviously I'll fast forward this bit because it's pretty boring. Once it's sanded, I'll show you the result after that, and then we'll just add the stuff on and then see what it looks like. By the time it's obviously hardened again, it's going to be tomorrow, because you have to leave it 8 hours after the final coat. So we'll see how they turn out. I don't think they're going to be obviously amazing, but I think I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. So that's them all trimmed to an extent. It could have been better, but what I think I might do is, if I just get to the end and when I go to fit them, any bits that are causing issues, I'll maybe just get a Dremel and just Dremel them off, because the scissors aren't really sharp enough to get in that close, / they're too big. At this stage, don't really know if it's going to look any good, to be honest, but it's an experiment, isn't it? So now we're going to do the first coat of hardener, which as usual is 3 parts resin even and 1 part hardener, and I'm just going to mix 40 grams worth. I will definitely end up redoing these in the future. Now I've had the first experience, I know what I'm in for, whereas I know a lot of people that have done it themselves had 3 or 4 goes before they got used to it. But the content wouldn't be very good if it just worked, would it? So we'll mix this up, I'll stick a layer on, and then we've got to wait 2 hours until this layer goes basically like tacky, like sticky. Once it goes sticky, we do another layer, then wait 2 hours, do another layer, and then you wait 8 hours. So this whole process is going to be long, and obviously I'll just show you the bits at the end. So I'll stick this on and then we'll go from there. Also, not the recommended brush, but because I'm an idiot, the other brush, when I did it, it went hard, so I couldn't reuse it. I'll just quickly show you what that looks like after the first coat. So they're starting to actually look like carbon fibre. So we'll leave that 2 hours and then we'll come back.
6 hours later.
So that's the third coat of hardener now. So it's been 6 hours, 2 hours in between each one. And now we need to wait 8 hours, so it'll be tomorrow. Anyone that was concerned about these little bits here, hopefully when it hardens off, I'll be able to sand them clear. Alright, as you can see, I bought myself a Dremel, and I finished off sanding all the edges with the Dremel. And honestly, buy a Dremel if you're going to do this. It's so much easier, or cut the material a lot closer to start with. So that is sorted now, sand all that back. Next step, which I'll just obviously fast forward because you've seen it loads. 120 sandpaper, then 240 sandpaper, wipe it down, and then one more coat of the resin, and then leave another 8 hours, and then after that it's on to polishing. So they should be finished soon, hopefully. So I'll finish off doing the 120, 240, another coat, and then I'll show you the final result. One thing I do just want to point out is when you are doing the 240, they will look rubbish. So if you look at these, they're all scratched and stuff. When you wipe them down, what you see when they're wiped down should be the kind of finish that you'll end up with. So just look for any flat spots or any grey bits once you've wiped them down, and then just give them an extra little rub over, and then in theory that way it should look spot on when you've finished. So the final stage of the clear coating is done. They look quite nice like this, but there is more sanding to go. This is the bit I'm kind of dreading, because all of the hard work to make them look nice and shiny is about to change, because the next stages are to sand through all of the stages of sandpaper. So that is starting with 400 grit, 800 grit, and then 1200 grit. And then once that's finished, there's this little polish that comes in the kit. It doesn't tell you what to use with this polish, so I'm just kind of hoping that your standard microfiber will do the job. But rather than me showing you all of this stage, I'm just gonna crack on and sand them all down, show you what they look like when they're sanded so you can see the progress, and then polish them, and hopefully it's finally finished.
1 hour later.
Sanding stage is complete. This is what they look like now. It kind of makes you think you've ruined all your hard work because they're all dull. But according to the little guide, this polish should shine them back up. So I'll apply some polish and then show you the end result after that. And hopefully that's it, we're finished. I've completed the polishing, and that's what they currently look like. It's not as shiny as when you just do the lacquer, but obviously they're a lot more smooth than they were before. But to be honest, for how long they take, that'll do. So I'll get them fitted and then I'll show you what they look like fitted. Like I say, they could definitely be done better, but next time I know more about the material and the fabric that you work with, so I'll definitely be able to get a better finish next time if I ever do them again. If you want to do it yourself, my top tips are buy more brushes, because you'll end up using one brush for every coat because you can't clean them really. And don't use plastic cups, because if you use a plastic cup, the resin melts the cup. So use cardboard cups, buy more brushes, and have loads of time on your hands is my best advice. If you enjoyed watching me create these, I've got some more content coming for the budget build, and then obviously all of my other car related cinematic videos. Drop a subscribe, I'm nearly at the magic 1k. Hopefully I'll get there soon, but yeah, I'll see you in the next one.